Brock Purdy was put into a Maserati, but he's driving that thing well, and he's getting it from point A to point B efficiently.
Show me how you drive that Maserati when you got to stop to change a tire.
Broncos country is riding, finally. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Dakota London. Dakota, Russell Wilson, a bit of a redemption season. The Broncos are rolling now. Before that last win, Courtland Sutton had put out one of those online apology forms. So do we all owe Russell Wilson an apology?
Maybe. No. This is a results-based business, sir. Y'all are 1-5, and you lost the game by 50 points. Rolling around, riding around, talking about some Broncos country, let's ride, which is the most cringe line I've ever heard in my life. So first of all, for me personally, I'm going to get jokes off with that alone. And two, you're deserving of all the criticism you got. I love the redemption. I love that they've seemed to get their season back in order by winning 4 straight. So you deserve kudos for that. But I'm not giving you an apology when y'all look decrepit and anemic for the first 5 games of the season. So no, I'm giving you an apology for that.
I think he is owed a bit of an apology, not because he was criticized. They deserve to be criticized both at the beginning of this year and last year. But it was a little bit OD. It was a little bit disrespectful, in fact, when you're talking about a future Hall of Famer here and people were trying to take back his Hall of Fame credentials. I think they were just waiting for their opportunity to pounce on Russ because they didn't like his whole, oh shucks, whatever it is, that attitude he puts out there. The Broncos country, let's ride attitude, in fact. So
I think it's more than that, though. He also was like, listen, you always think the grass is greener. When he left Seattle, he thought by him going to Denver, he had a better opportunity to win. And when he was in Seattle, he deserved all the praise that he got, and because they were successful. But once you leave that system and that safe haven and you come to Denver and it's a hot mess, yeah, you're going to get criticized. And people are going to question if you're actually deserving of a Hall of Fame jacket.
Yeah, except for now we got a real coach again. The person I'm really looking at sideways here is Nathaniel Hackett, who was the coach of the Broncos and made Russell Wilson look like a bum, and now is the offensive coordinator of the New York Jets, who have the worst offense I have ever seen. It is a disgrace to the sport, the Jets offense. If he wasn't buddies with Aaron Rodgers, I don't know what people would be saying. Everybody was up in arms because Sean Payton was too mean to him. I think Sean Payton has proven himself again as a great coach, and as a result, we're at least seeing that Russell Wilson isn't washed up, and in fact isn't the garbage he looked like last year that everybody wanted to point and laugh at.
We don't even got to go back to last year, and this is the thing about being prisoner of the moments. Yeah, Sean Payton looked great now, but when y'all were losing about 50, you didn't look the best. But it's fine. It's a result-based business, and the current results are they're winning. Speaking of quarterbacks, you go to Chicago, who just lost a game to Detroit in very Chicago fashion. So, Robin, is Justin Fields the guy for Chicago?
This is actually a very tough question because Fields has played much better since this year, really, as a whole, since the beginning of the season. And obviously was pretty good coming back from injury. He did not lose that game. However, you look at the body of work, it took him a while to get going. The record is what it is, but how much of that is on the organization itself? Because that's the issue here. They are very well primed to have the number 1 pick in the draft. I think they have about a 60% chance to get the number 1 pick in the draft when you combine their pick with Carolina's pick. But if you like Fields, and he certainly has a degree of talent, you could also make the argument you actually pass on Caleb Williams or Drake May, and you again flip that for more picks, for more ability to build the rest of that roster. I would have dismissed it summarily at the beginning of the season and said, no, they have to draft a quarterback. I'll at least entertain the argument now that Fields could be the guy and they could do something else with that draft capital.
I think the better question is Chicago the city for Justin? Listen, this is the place that, produced Jim McMahon and Rex Grossman. It's not like you got a bunch of Hall of Fame quarterbacks that's just coming out of Chicago. So I personally am cautious and concerned for him in the sense of, is he in the right organization that fits his abilities best? And I would say, I don't think so. I do think he would be successful in a different city. I'm not sure exactly what city that would be, but seeing as Chicago has never been the place where you say, oh, if you want to develop a quarterback, send them to the Bears. I'm like, that might not be the best place for him. And because he is still in that phase of his career where his natural thought is to run before throwing, he needs a lot of development. And I just don't know if Chicago is the place for that.
But a quarterback who does have some structure around him is Brock Purdy in San Francisco. Had a perfect game, perfect passer rating. I think the first 49ers quarterback to do that since Joe Montana and Steve Young. So has Purdy shut up his critics?
No. And nor should he have. He hasn't done anything yet. I feel like the critique is, under perfect circumstances, Brock is great for that system, great for that team. But if the situation isn't perfect, which tends to happen in NFL games, are you dependable? Can you come through every single time? Or not every single time, but most of the time in circumstances where things aren't scripted. And I would say that's still up in the air. So for me, it's great. Yeah, you had a fantastic game, but that game was never in jeopardy. Let me see how you play when you play Philly, when you're playing against a team and a quarterback who I can make the argument are both better. So it's just like, show me then you might be able to shut me up as a critic. Until then, much remains to be seen.
Brock Purdy is easily a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. To me, on the very outside edge of top 5 in the NFL. And the only reason he's talked about some lightning rod, like some lightning rod, is his draft position. You know, if he was drafted in a different spot, it wouldn't be this way. Because he was the last pick in the draft, he's had this like hero story and everyone's like, oh, yay, Brock Purdy. And that leads to a little bit of a backlash. And because he was the last pick in the draft, you have people who are constantly trying to say, oh, look, you know, the Cinderella story is over. This is really what he is the whole time. But the way I put it is Brock Purdy was put into a Maserati, but he's driving that thing well, and he's getting it from point A to point B efficiently. And a lot of times, that's all it takes for a quarterback with the right team, the right system, and the right structure in the NFL.
I can say that, but at the same time, show me how you drive that Maserati when you got to stop to change a tire. And I feel like in the NFL game, there's going to be times where he has to adjust because things that are planned aren't going as well.
Well, we got to see it again. I mean, he got hurt in the playoffs last year. We're not going to get that answer talking about a regular season win over Tampa.